Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ikhlasul Hamzah from Big D English Department IAIN Palopo. My presentation today is about developing student listening worksheet of 4th semester student at English Department of Tarbiyah and Teacher Training at IAIN Palopo, written by Alexander. My talk will be in 3 parts. First is introduction, after that literature review, and then research methodology. Now, let's look at in chapter 1. In chapter 1, we have 9 points. First point is background. Listening is one of important skill that should be mastered at English department. Listening has an important role both in daily life in academic context as it is crucial for people to sustain effective communication. Yildirim in 2015. Problems. The speakers are too fast. Themes are unusual. Uncommon pronunciation. The second point is identification of the problem. Speaking speed of native. Familiarize student with themes. Provide vocabularies with uncommon and difficult pronouns. Third point is delimitation of the problem. Focuses on problem of learning process by providing learning material or worksheet for the student based on need and target. Next point is formulation of the problem. The formulation of the problem is how to design an appropriate material. Next point is objective of the study. Identify the target and learning needs of students at the 4th semester. Design an appropriate material that's suitable for the students. Next point is the specification of the study. A listening worksheet consists of 2 chapters and designed based on need analysis. First is listening for specific information and listening for details. Next point is the significance of the study. Help them to increase their listening skills. Manage and arrange an appropriate class that is suitable. Make a useful worksheet that is appropriate for student. Next point is the assumption and delimitation of the study. Able to use for the students at the 4th semester of English study program at IAIN Palopo and other students who have same capabilities. Finally, the last point is definition of the key terms. Developing is collecting listening material those are suitable. Appropriate is suitable with the curriculum and students' ability. Design is model of the material based on the student need analysis. Listening worksheet. Appropriate listening materials for the students. Let's now we move on to chapter 2. In chapter 2, we have 6 points. First point is previous study. There are some research that relevant with this research. Those are designing material accessible to teacher for English learning of the 4th grade students of elementary schools at the Ambal sub-district of Kebumen Regency. Next is designing appropriate English learning materials for grade 10 student of ceramics craft skill program at SMKN number 1 Rotabaya, and designing listening materials for English grade student of SMPN 14 Yogyakarta based on 2013. The second point is curriculum. First is definition of curriculum. According to Ibrahim Tyler in 2015 in page 2, curriculum is planning of all student subjects and applied by the school for achieving the education purpose. Second is component of curriculum. In Sukmandita research in 2006, page 102 until 112, mentioned that the component of curriculum consists of 6 parts. Those are purpose, tools of learning, teaching strategy, media of study, teaching evaluation, and fixing. While Sukirman in 2014, page 20, states that the component in curriculum consists of theory, concept, generalization, principle, fact, source, example, and definition. Based on two research, the curriculum should have material that already managed, processed, validated, arranged, and fixed. Those things show that the materials that offered in curriculum should pass many steps before applied to the student. The third point is the function of curriculum. In Kartika's article in 2010, page 3, mentions 6 functions of curriculum. Those are adaptation, integration, differentiation, preparation, correlation, and diagnostic function. In other side, English, Ibrahim 2015, in page 6, also state that curriculum consists of some function. Those are as follows. 1. The adjective of adaptive function. Curriculum should be able to handle society condition because it will become student object in learning. 2. The integration function is integrating students should be educated by using curriculum to face the society. 3 is the differentiating function. Curriculum has to offer the different problem in the learning process to familiarize the students with the other life outside. So, the students are able to know and solve the other things out of their life. Next is the propedeutic function. As the educator to prepare the student for continuing the next level or higher education. Next is the selective function. The curriculum should be flexible to educate the student, so the students are able to elect the beneficial things for their own selves. And the last is the diagnostic function. The material that offered by curriculum is coming from the need analysis, so the students are able to study based on their curriculum in IAIN Palopo. In academic guidance of IAIN Palopo number 370.1 2016, that appears that the curriculum used in IAIN Palopo is based on research and people perpetuation centered to IAIN Palopo student, and the subject is coming from institution, faculties, departments, and selection subject. The third point is worksheet. Definition of worksheet. Chotima in 2014, page 9, in her article, she stated that worksheet is all the kinds of helping tools in learning process such as handout and slides or overhead that consist of text, diagram, picture, painting, audio, video, or animation. Principle in developing worksheet. Sutejo 2006, page 4. There are three principles that should be understood by the people in developing the worksheet. Those are follows. First is relevance or correlation. The lesson of the competency standard should have correlation. Next is consistency or consistent. When the curriculum offers one material to learn, the thing that should be done by the people, it is focusing on that. The last is sufficiency. The student's material should be qualifying to learn that help the student to understand about the knowledge. Kind of worksheet. Asmawati in 2015, page 4 until 5, state that worksheet is consists of 4 kinds. Those are as follows. First is visual worksheet. Printed file, handout, book, module, paper sheet, leaflet, brochure, wall chart, picture, and painting. Second is audio worksheet. Non-printed file, cassette, audio disc, and so on. Next is audiovisual worksheet, like video, movie or film, compact disc, and so on. And last is multimedia worksheet. Interactive teaching material, computer assist instruction, compact disc, web materials, and so on. The steps in developing worksheet. The steps in developing worksheet are consisting of 4 steps. Sutejo 2006, page 7. Those are as follow. First is identifies the aspect in standard and basic competence. Identify the standard and basic competence is needing to do for deciding what suitable material that appropriate for teaching the student each meetings. Second is identify the kinds of study. It seems like the other aspect in psychometric and affective. And the last is choosing a suitable material based on the curriculum. Choosing the suitable material in teaching should be based on 4 aspects that mentioned in the second point above. That is fact, concept, principle, and procedure. The fourth point is listening. Definition of listening. Mulyana in 2014 in page 16 state that listening is a process of catching a sound, understanding and arguing the statement from the speaker so information is able to accept well. Listening purpose. According to Abidin, there are 3 points of purpose in listening. They are exercising student level in concentration, exercising student level in understanding, and expressing student creative in learning. Kind of listening. According to Chotima in her thesis, there are many kinds of listening. In her thesis, she just mentioned a few of them. Those are Critical listening is looking for the mistake from the audio. Concentrative listening is analyze and accept all information. Creative listening. Listen to the sound that has an interesting thing. Exploratory listening. Investigate special thing from the audio. Interrogative listening. Looking for the points by high concentration. Listening problem and strategies. Anandapong in 2011, page 7, state that listening plays a vital role in people's daily life. When they cannot hear well, they will find it hard to communicate. As a result, lack of listening comprehension might lead to the poor result. According Yagang in Anandapong in 2011, page 7, state that the problem in listening were accompanied with the four following factors. That is message, the speaker, the listener, and the psychical settings. Underwood in Anandapong in 2011, page 7, point out other kind of problem that are related to the student themselves. She summarized that learners have to establish learning habits in the sense that they were encouraged by listening carefully to teachers who probably speak slowly and clearly. Next point is models in developing. First is Eddie. Eddie in 1990 by Reiser and Molenda is 10 for 5 words. They are analyzed, that is needs, recruitment, task, and participant current capabilities. Design is learning objective delivery format, activities, and exercise. Development, create a prototype, develop course materials, review, pilot session. Implementation, training implementation, tools in place and observation. Evaluation, awareness, knowledge, behavior, and result. Next is Borg and Gall in 1983, page 772. The style of developing worksheet consists of 10 steps. First is research and information collecting, that is review of literature, classroom observation, and preparation of report of the state-of-the-art. The second is planning, that is defining skill, stating objective, determining course sequence, and small-scale feasibility testing. Next is develop preliminary form of product, that is preparation of instructional materials, handbooks, and evaluation device. Next is preliminary field testing, that is conduct in from 1 to 3 schools using 6 to 12 subjects, interview, observational, and questionnaire data collect and analyzed. Next is main product revision, revision of product as suggested by preliminary field test result. Next is main field testing, and then operational product revision, and then operational field testing, and final product revision, and finally dissemination and implementation. Next is the dig and carry design model. There are 9 phases in the dig and carry model. They are 1. Identifying an instructional goal. 2. Conducting the instructional analysis. 3. Identifying the entry behaviors and learners' characteristics. 4. Rating the performance objective. 5. Developing the Seritrion reference test items. 6. Developing the instructional strategy. 7. Developing and selecting instructional materials. 8. Developing and conducting the formative evaluation. And finally, in 9, developing and conducting the summative evaluation. Next is the Nierk and Gustafsson design model. The Nierk and Gustafsson design model differs from the 3 phases in the Hanivan and Peck model. In this model, there are individual processes or steps involved in each stage. In fact, like the model of the Hanivan and Peck, there are 3 phases in this model. They involve problem determination, design, and development. Problem determination involves the identification of a problem and the setting of goals. In addition, the development of objective and strategy specification are included in the design stage. Development is where the materials are developed. Next is the Gerald Kemp design model. Kemp identifies 9 elements in this model. There are the identifying instructional problems and specifying the goals for designing an instructional program, examining the learners' characteristics that should receive attention during the planning, identifying the subject content and instructional strategies so that each learner can master the objective, planning the instructional message and delivery, developing the evaluation instruments to assess the objective, selecting the research to support the instruction and learning activities. Next is the Gerald and Ellie design model. The Gerald and Ellie design model. The Gerald and Ellie model is prescriptive model that is well suited to primary, secondary, and higher education sectors. This model includes strategies for selecting and including multimedia during the instruction. It is a model that is suitable for beginning instructional designers whose subject matter and expertise are in a context-specific area. Next is Hanivan and Peck. The Hanivan and Peck in 1987 design model is 3-phase process. In the first phase, a need assessment is performed. The second phase is design phase, which should design the product based on the need analysis. In the third phase, instruction is developed and implemented. Finally, based on the explanation before, this research adapts the AD as the instructional design model. The AD model is easier and less complicated than the other instructional design models. Moreover, the AD models is as the basic model which is used as a source in developing other instructional design models. The last point in chapter 2 is conceptual framework. The purpose of this research by using R&D model is to design appropriate listening material for the student at the 4th grade of English study program at IAIN Palopo. In this research, Researcher will use AD model in developing the appropriate and suitable material for the students at the 4th grade at IAIN Palopo. Conceptual framework have a schema. First is research target. Here, the researcher decides to choose the objective of the research based on the problem happened. In this research, the problem which happened refers to the student listening skill in the 4th semester of English education in IAIN Palopo. The second is observation and interview. To get enough data of student problem in listing subject, researcher observed the class and interviewed some of student and listening lecture to make sure about the difficulties faced by the student in listening subject. Next is need analysis. This step is the first schema in AD model. This called as analyze. In analyze, the researcher divides a questionnaire that contains of lack, want, and necessity question. Next is make a plan. In AD model, making a plan is called as design. Here, the researcher focus on designing a course, grid, or lesson plan for the students based on data gotten from need analysis. Next is researching and make a product. In this step, researching and make a product called as development. Here, the researcher collects the material then analyze it, or to know about the appropriateness of the material with the student level. After that, researcher make a product in worksheet shape. The researcher will validate this worksheet to experts and students before applying this product to the real class or tryout. Next is final product. The final product in this research was gotten from the result of expert judgment and students' validation. The final product in this research was gotten from the result of expert judgment and students' validation. The final product in this research has passed two kinds of material validation above, or expert judgment and student validity. The last is tryout. The worksheet that had been validated was used for 15 students in the class. This tryout aimed to check the students' result in doing the worksheet exercise. Okay, let's now move on to chapter 3. Research methodology. In this research, the researcher used research and development, or R&D methodology in developing student listening worksheet for increasing student listening skill at the 4th semester of student at English Education Department, Faculty of Tarbiyah and Teacher Training at State Islamic Institute of Palopo. In this research, the researcher used AD model. In this chapter, we have 3 points. First point is development model. In this research, there are 5 steps in developing the listening material that adopt from AD model and become researchers' guide in developing the worksheet. AD stands for analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. The second point is procedure in development. On the schema of AD model used to develop the learning material. Analyze. Here the researcher should able to know students like want and also necessity. To know them, those 3 components contained in the questionnaire that the researcher gave. Design. Researcher designed a course grid as the planning of learning study in listening class. The course grid content of the need and target of learners. Development. The step focus on developing the material. Development here consists of 1. Collecting material, that is audios and kinds of listening exercise. 2. Arranging the material, that is appropriateness of audio with students level previously. 3. Arranging the design by using TBLT or teaching based on language teaching. Approach. It is the design of exercise should be from the lowest to the highest level. Here the design can be illustration, typing, picture, editing, layout, coloring, and etc. 4 is validating. The validation uses 2 ways. First way was using for expert and the second way was student validation. Worksheet which had been validated from expert and students was implemented to the class. The implementation was in the small number of students. This way aimed to know the effectiveness and interesting of the worksheet. Next is evaluation. Here, researchers used 2 kinds of evaluation. They were formative and summative evaluation. Formative evaluation conduct for collecting the data in each step of doing this research. This aimed to have a strong data to fix the problems that appeared in this case. The last point is design of the material tryout. Design of tryout. In this tryout, this worksheet was given to the lecturer of listening to be taught in the class. The class were in the 4th semester of English education. There was a meeting in delivering the material of the worksheet. This meeting took a long time to complete the task of chapter 1 and chapter 2. This worksheet was given to 15 students. Subject of tryout. The population in this study is all students at 4th semester, English Department, Faculty of Tarbiyah and Teacher Training at State Islamic Institute of Palopo. The sample of study, there are 15 students at the 4th semester from 4 class. Technique and data collecting. In this research, the data collect 4 times by using questionnaire. First is questionnaire was need analyzed. Second was questionnaire of expert judgment. The third is questionnaire was student validation. And the last was the questionnaire of tryout or students' perception about the listening material. Next is data analysis technique. Data analysis in questionnaire. Data analysis that used was descriptive, which analyzed by calculating the percentage of the answer. Result of the need analysis from the questionnaire used the pattern. X is score. Sigma X is the same answer of student. N is total number of student. The pattern is X is sigma X divide N times 100%. Student choice, necessity, like and want are becoming researcher background in design the worksheet. Data analysis of experts' judgment and students' perception. This analysis use Likert scala as the measurement. The result of the questionnaire used a pattern proposed by Suharto, 2006, page 52 until 53. R is range, XH is the highest score, XL is the lowest score, 5 is the range of Likert scale, and the pattern is R is XH mean XL divide 5. Then the result of data will convert in descriptive analysis. The indicator is measuring the result is the mean or X. The means will be used by using conversion pattern data. The means will be used by using conversion pattern data. Mn or X is sigma fx divide n. So I think that's all for me. My name is Ikhlasul Hamzah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.